pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we do have a full quorum tonight, including all of our alternates as well. We appreciate everybody being here. First, ask if there's any conflicts of interest with any of the members of the Planning Commission on any of the items tonight. Seeing none, I'll move on to item 3.4, which is approval of our minutes for our March 19th and our April 2nd Planning Commission meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for item 3.4.
Okay, we have a motion by Heather. We have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Adam. All in favor?
Right.
Aye. All right. Before we jump into our meeting, we do have a couple items on here that are up for public hearing. So before we begin, I would like to read the public comment policy and procedure. The purpose of the public comment policy is to allow citizens to address items on the agenda. Citizens requesting to address the commission will be asked to complete a written comment form and present it to the Deputy City Recorder. In general, the chair will allow an individual 3 minutes to address the commission. A spokesperson recognized as representing a group in attendance may be allowed up to 5 minutes. This policy applies to all public hearings. So with that, we'll jump over to item 4.1, which is a review and consideration and consider approval for a conditional use permit for a change of use. Clint.
All right, I'll wait for this to come up here. While it's coming up, this is it's a change of conditional use for a building that was previously for the Serendipity daycare. That's been moved over here, and now they're coming back. The applicant is proposing new uses for that building. This is just off of 134th in this business plaza. The building to the on the left side is the one we're looking at today. Again, it's previously a daycare use and or preschool. That has been vacated, and the applicant is proposing some new uses. The other uses around there are labeled here: dental office, daycare, and veterinary. And there's a total of 74 parking stalls. So the proposal is to, there's no building modifications that will take place, but the building will just be utilized differently than it had before. There will be a coffee shop where there was a kitchen area, and then some personal service offices for for personal services to come in. Some of the things they've talked about is like art studios, other educational types of activities where people would come in and take classes for something. Largely the uses fall under a professional office or a retail type use. So in review of this conditional use, we look at obviously the proposed uses and the parking standards. So as stated before, the provided parking is 74 stalls. By ordinance, they would be required to provide 77 parking stalls. The applicant has provided a parking study, which went through all the proposed uses, and they determined that the 74 stalls provided would be adequate for the uses that are being proposed on the site. So that is in the hands of the commission to reduce that required parking stalls from 77 to 74. Another one of the site improvements is it just lacks bicycle parking, so that will be provided as well. And so our recommendation for approval is to approve with the bicycle standards, or installing the bicycle rack on site, and also depending on the reduction in parking numbers. So if there's any questions I can answer, I'd be glad to.
Okay, thank you, Clint. Any questions for Clint?
I believe the applicant is here as well to answer any questions.
Great. Okay, thank you. Yeah, we'll go ahead and ask the applicant to come forward. If there's any additional information you'd like to provide, you're more than welcome to do so. And go ahead and just state your name as well.
Not really.
Okay.
If you have any questions, you can ask. But other than that, basically it's a business mall. where we are giving the opportunity to small businesses to start in an easier way, because we're going to be sharing some bills that, makes just a new business owner to start easier. Other
Very
than
good.
that, I don't know if you have any questions.
So are you Hilda? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Any questions for Hilda?
Can you just describe what you mean by like coffee shop? That's the part I was just confused
Sure.
on. Like,
So it is a business mall, and part of the business mall is to have a coffee shop, because all the businesses there are gonna need some kind of like waiting area. So instead of having like a common waiting area, we have a coffee shop where the people can wait and drink something and eat something very simple.
okay. That makes more sense to me. Thank you.
Any other questions? That's good. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
you're
being here
welcome.
tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, any discussion from the Planning Commission? Any thoughts? Any actions? Seems pretty straightforward.
Like a good reuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is that a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve item 4.1 with staff's two conditions.
Okay, we have a motion by Brody
I'll second.
and a second by Heather. We'll do a roll call vote on this one. Brody?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Adam?
Yeah.
Daryl?
Yes.
And Andrea?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here tonight. We'll move on to item 4.2, which is a review and consideration of approval of conditional use permit for the Chartway Federal Credit Union. Clint?
So this use is for a Chartway Federal Credit Union. This will take place down in the Anthem commercial area. So this will be just to the south of the Panda Express, if you're familiar with where that is at. Just along Herman Main Street. This is the site plan that the applicant is proposing. Building's just over 2,400 square feet, 20 parking stalls. The building's 20 feet tall, finished with largely stone cement board, and ephes. They have large glass openings, and then they also are providing 34% landscaping. The applicant is also providing 2 pedestrian connections from both Denali Park Drive and Harriman Main Street, which we appreciate, and working with them. These are the elevations that are being proposed. They have been approved by the Anthem Commercial ARC. The materials, again, are shown conceptually in the rendering, and then on the elevations there, you can see where those materials are applied. The large glass opening obviously faces towards Herman Main Street. And the landscape plan as being proposed does meet city ordinance. There's no proposed conditions for the landscape plan to change, other than adding a note that any changes to the landscape plan should be approved by city staff and the landscape architect. Another condition of approval for this project, and it's not typically shown on elevations as we go through a review process, but it is in city code that the utilities should be screened. So the utilities going into the building, it's something that typically gets overlooked because the elevations don't show them as we go through the site plan process. But we just require when those plans do come before us in the building permit side that they show the rescreening of the utilities going into the building. It can be done with fencing or with landscaping. There's some alternative options to provide that screening. So that being said, just those 2 conditions of approval, and if there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them. I know that the applicant is here if you'd like to hear from them as well.
Okay. Any questions for Clint? All right, very good. Thank you. Okay, if the applicant's here, would like to provide any additional information, please. Go ahead and state your name, please, for the record.
Hi, I'm Joanna Graham with Kimley Horn representing the applicant tonight. Clinton did a great job presenting our project, so nothing really to add, but we are happy to meet these conditions of approval that they've set forth. We've kind of worked with the city to provide all of the other comments and concerns and address those, but we're happy with these ones as well.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you, Joanna. Appreciate you
Thank
being
you.
here. All right. Again, any discussion, thoughts? This is following the MDA agreement with, for Anthem as well?
Landscaping looks great.
Landscaping, yep. And the pathways, appreciate that.
I guess
Yeah.
whoever approves it, they ask that we change consideration to conditional use permit.
Oh, the agenda had a grammatical error on it, is what you're getting at, right? So it says review and consider approval of a consideration use permit, which it should say review and consider approval of a conditional use permit. So we'll just make that clarification in the motion. So just state that correctly when you do that.
I move to approve item 4.2 to review and consider approval of a conditional use permit for Chartway Federal Credit Union.
Okay? We have a motion by Adam.
I'll second.
And a second by Daryl. Again, we'll do a roll call vote. We'll start with Adam.
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
And Brody?
Yes.
All right, that motion passes. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll move on to item 4.3. So review and consider a conditional use permit for light manufacturing for Axia. Clint.
So before getting into this one, so Sheldon Howe was the project planner or the project manager for this. He's trying to join online, but he says that the virtual link has no audio. So anyways,
If not, maybe we'll just let you,
he just might have some more information to
Okay.
chime in on if we have
if we
more
have
questions,
questions
and I
and
can
stuff.
answer.
Then. Okay,
So-
all right, we'll do our best then.
Okay. We'll get started through this then. So this is the Axia Business Park. This is the big building that you see as you first come into Harriman down on Redwood Road. It's nearing completion now, I think. And this project will take up the southern part of the building. Not gonna let me change it. There we go. So it's located in the M1 zone, as you can see here. The applicant is proposing to occupy the green space shown in that building, which again is that kind of that southern part of the building. The building itself was approved back in December of 2022. So the applicant will occupy about 80,000 square feet. They're extending the amount of office space that was proposed initially. And then the proposed use is warehousing and manufacturing. The tenant that they have going in there, they manufacture these components here, right? So aerospace components, firearms, firearm accessories, non-destructive devices, and storage and distribution of destructive devices. So this is the site plan showing where those uses will take place in the building. For the most part, the manufacturing will take part at the very southern part of the building, and the warehouse and assembly will take part in the kind of the northern part of their space. They do a lot of kind of 3D printing of firearms and those types of things. A couple of things to note on their proposal, though, is they do provide this, it's called a shoot box. So for some of the products that they make, they'll go into this shoot box, which is really a fortified storage container, and test their the products that they make on site. Some of those things will be like rubber bullet components and those kinds of things. They will distribute tear gas and flashbangs. I'm hoping I'm getting the terminology correct on this. But those will be stored in an explosive storage container. All of this area, this use, is regulated by the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm, the ATF for the state. So they'll be doing a lot of the review of their use, how they're storing the materials, making sure that they're doing it appropriately and safely. It has been reviewed by the fire department here and our building department, and they are okay with how the site is being constructed and the things that are being complied with in terms of the storage of those explosive materials. Where those materials are not being manufactured on site, they're solely being stored and distributed from this site. There are no concerns with parking. This is an example of the chute box that will be installed inside the building. As you can see, it's just kind of a long storage container, probably fortified to make, for safety reasons, obviously. And then the explosive magazine for indoor storage is shown on the bottom here as well. So things we'll look at is manufacturing standards and then conditional use. So again, a lot of what is being done and how they're doing it is controlled by the state ATF. And it states, these are some of the requirements that they state and that they control and regulate. As such, the conditional use will be that they comply with the ATF provisions of state code. And again, this is kind of just going over what the things that I've talked about already, but permitted storage and distribution, so the tear gas will be stored, and the tear gas and flashbangs will be stored and distributed from the site, but they will not be manufactured from the site. So these are the recommendations of approval, largely just compliance with the ATF, the fire marshal, and any local building codes. But in terms of use, it does comply with city ordinance. The parking, all the landscaping has already been met previously with the building going in. This is just for the tenant finish. I believe the applicant, I'm not sure if they're online or if they're here. Okay.
But the tenant is on the audio call, so I don't know if they've been able to hear.
Okay.
Okay.
At least hear it. Okay.
Okay. So I'll answer what I can, and then can go from there. Hopefully
Okay.
that.
So I have a question. What's the adjacent use within the same building?
There isn't one right now.
It's empty right now.
It's completely empty. This will be the first
This is the
use
initial one.
occupying that space.
Buyer beware moving forward, I guess. Huh? Yeah. Okay, any other questions for Clint? Okay. I don't know if you want to come and provide any additional information or we wait for any audio. I don't know if the commission.
I can answer any questions that I can, or
Do we have any questions for? For her, though? Okay, we'll let you have a seat then. I don't know if there's any, we can have some discussion. I don't know if there's any questions that we may have for the applicant anyway. It seems pretty straightforward, the intent and the expectations
Purpose
here.
of a warehouse like that, so
Yeah.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Any other discussion? We're ready to make a motion otherwise. Okay, maybe we don't need any other discussion. Go ahead, Adam.
I move to approve item 4.3 with the 5 staff conditions.
All right, we have a motion
I'll
by
second.
Adam and a second by Brody. We'll do a roll call vote again. Brody?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
All right, that motion does pass. So hopefully they heard the good news online. But yeah, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. And appreciate you considering our community as well for this effort. All right, move on to 4.4, review and consider preliminary plat approval extension. So this is an extension. So Clint, I believe this one is yours again. Last one for you tonight. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a subdivision that was looked at in July of 2023. It's Laguna Point subdivision. Essentially, the applicant, there's no changes being proposed. They're just looking to extend their approval, which is doable and permitted by city code. This approval will extend them through May 7th, 2026. The reasoning for this is that they're trying to market the property, and it sounds like they have somebody interested, so they'd like to continue this and see if they can get the project sold to this new interested party. So this is for the Laguna Malibu. Let's see, is this the right one? This is Rockwell Cove, sorry. This would be for Laguna
Yeah,
Point.
we need Laguna Point. One ahead.
I'm not going to spend too much time on the things that are in it, but just, we'll go over,
There we go.
give a good refresher anyways. So, located just off of Juniper Crest Road, The road's already constructed to that point, so this does not extend the road. That will be done with the other MDAs that were approved earlier this year. Again, 68 single-family lots. It was approved initially in July 2023, I should say. This will extend it till 2026. And again, nothing much is changing. The requirement for the development to have more than 30 lots is dependent on providing additional access. So right now they only have one access, so they'll need to work through that issue before they can develop the full 68. But essentially, this is just extending their original approval without any changes to the next year. And that after this, it should be noted that this is the one and only extension that they're eligible for. If it doesn't get recorded within the next year, then they'll have to reapply and go back through the process for approval. If there's any questions?
Yeah, any questions for Clint?
I know the applicant is here. And
Thank you. Yeah, great. The applicant like come forward and provide any additional information, or, yeah. Name, please, as well.
Good evening, members. John Lindsley, authorized agent for Laguna Point. Clinton did a great job explaining what we're doing here. We are essentially just trying to achieve some more time following the code to allow us another year. We've been working diligently since the approval, working with different builders, and we've landed with a really top-notch, top-tier builder that we're going to work with to get to the final plat and submit the construction drawings and be able to go forward with our plans. So pretty simple. We're just looking for that extra time.
Perfect. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, John. Appreciate you being here. Yeah. All right, any discussion?
So with a one-year extension, unless they come up with a second access, they can't build this whole subdivision. Is that correct?
Just 30.
They just can't build more than 30 lots.
Yeah.
They can build
They can build
When the
30.
second access,
roughly
yeah,
half
they
the.
can-
And I guess if they
Yeah.
begin the process, then they don't have to come back as long as they meet the conditions. As long as they begin the process, they
There's
they
additional
record the
roads that are
plat and they-
stubbed
Yeah.
on the plat.
Yep.
They can build up to the 30 lots until they have the second access. They won't have to, as long as they
Oh,
start.
it doesn't shut down the project. They build half of it roughly.
Build 30 lots.
Yep.
And then when they do have a second.
So if it takes them a year or two to get the second access, that's okay. They don't have to come back to us. It'll just continue on because they've actually started the project, correct? Yeah. Gotcha. Until second.
Understood. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay.
I move to approve item 4.4 for the preliminary plat approval extension for Laguna Point subdivision with the two conditions.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Brody and a second by Adam. Do a vote. Brody?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Daryl?
Yes.
And Adam?
Yes.
All right, that motion.
Look at that.
Make sure you guys are on your toes tonight, so. All right, thank you, appreciate you being here. All right, we are moving on to item 4.5 and 4.6. I believe, Lauren, you're going to present these as in one presentation, is that the intent? And then we'll do two different items. So they're both for the same location. One is for a preliminary plat approval, and then 4.6 is for the conditional use permit, so.
Yeah, so as you stated, there is one presentation. There are a couple of extra slides for the conditional use, just because there's a little more information there, but we can go ahead and get started. So we are looking at the southeast corner of Harriman. I say corner lightly. All right, so this is our subject property. You can see it's a little bit of an odd shape, and then it is important to note that there are a lot of easements and power lines running through the property. So your typical cut it in quarters is not exactly what happened here. The lots are a little bit odd shaped, but it's for a reason. So these are the lots that we are looking at. So there are 5 lots in total, and they are all over 1 acre. Zoning and engineering are good with the subdivision.
And these are the conditions for the subdivision,
Yeah, so.
for item 4.5 then.
I believe the majority of corrections with engineering have been worked through that would impact the plat itself. Anything remaining is small and can be done at time of site creation or coming back for conditional use.
Okay.
I will come back in a moment.
All right, thank you. All right, if the applicant's here, would like to present any additional information, we're going to start with item 4.5 for the plat approval. So anything more, go ahead and state your name, please.
My name's Scott Thorson, the applicant. I don't think I have anything to add, but happy to
Okay.
answer any questions.
Great, any questions? All right,
Thank you.
so be it. All right. All right, this item is on for a public hearing, so I will go ahead and open up the meeting for a public hearing at this time. Does anyone like to make a comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Heather,
Second.
second by Adam. Got to be quick tonight, I guess. All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, public hearing is closed at this time. Any discussion? Any thoughts?
It's pretty straightforward. This is
Okay.
the pieces that are left after all the easements cut it up.
Yeah, yeah. Is that any other discussion? Sounds like a motion to me, Jackson.
Well, I'll make a motion to, let's see, is this recommended?
4.5. This is actually commission approval.
Yep. So I'll make a motion to approve item 4.5 with staff's 2 recommendations.
Okay, we have a motion by Jackson,
I'll second it.
a second by Adam. Do a vote. We'll start with Andrea.
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
And Brody?
Yes.
All right, that item passes. 4.6, is there any more you want to, I'll let Lauren come back and continue the discussion on this location.
Perfect. Yeah, so we have a couple more slides here. So this area, as we discussed in the work meeting, has had a previous conditional use approved on it before. This is the location right below Rockwell Landing. And so this was planned to be storage at one point. So the conditional use does move with the land. And one of the conditions of approval with that original one was any outdoor storage must be approved by the Planning Commission, meaning that if that use does come back, it will need to come back to you guys. This is what we're currently looking at. Lots 1 and 4 have planned tenants. And then any other lots, the reason I mentioned they were over 1 acre is because even permitted lots, if they're over 1 acre in this zone, turn into conditional uses and must appear before the Planning Commission. And then one other note, the lower section that is highlighted in light blue, that is a portion of both Lot 1 and Lot 4. Here, you can see it's being left native. That is the intention of the landowner. They don't plan to put anything here because the grade is very steep, as well as those power lines and easements. The area would just be extremely difficult to navigate. So they're planning on keeping it as undisrupted as possible. There might be some because of construction, but the plan is to not touch it.
Great.
And then there are a few more conditions of approval with this one, but yeah. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Sorry, I was reading through the notes here. Any questions for Lauren?
On that outdoor storage, you said they'd have to come back for approval of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they would need to anyways if it were to go on one of the current lots.
If there was an issue, code enforcement would handle that, right? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, if the applicant's here, provide any additional information? Nope, you're good? Okay, thank you. All right, again, this is a administrative, so it is up for
Maybe one
commission
last
approval.
question. If they
Yeah.
were to split lots 3 or 4, that would come back before us as well?
3 or 4, well, yeah, yeah. Yep. Any other discussion?
Seems like a good use for that area.
Yeah, it's good it's getting used. I'm glad they're leaving some open space too. That'll be good.
I'll make a motion to approve item 4.6 with consideration, or sorry, to consider conditional use permit with staff's 6 conditions.
Okay, I have a motion by Brody,
Second?
second by Heather. Again, do a vote. Brody,
Yes.
Jackson, Heather,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes.
and Andrea.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That motion passes as well. Thank you for being here, appreciate it. All right, we're on to our final item, and this one is a legislative item, so it will be a recommendation to the city council. So this is, Jackie, I think, are you presenting tonight on this one then? I believe? Oh, you're good. No, we're moving right along, so keep it up.
You're a lot quicker than I was anticipating.
Sorry.
Okay.
We're efficient tonight.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you for having me. So in 2022, we started doing a legal analysis of our city code and wanted to make sure that we updated all of the references with state law, update any conflicting codes throughout Harriman City Code or with state code. And there was some page formatting that we needed to do, renumbering that we needed to do to have it consistent throughout. I don't know how familiar you are with our code, but some were ABC, some were 1, 2, 3. We just would like to get them all consistent. The intent of the proposed amendments is not to change the regulatory intent of any portion of Harriman City Code. The changes are just to remove redundancies, update state law references, and have that consistent numbering. I provided a table of changes that were from that, and I also provided a new updated of what the code would look like. If it was being removed, there was a reference to state code, so that definition would remain the same. But if you would like to go through the table, I'm happy to answer any questions you have or concerns.
Excellent. Thank you, Jackie. Any questions?
So-
How do we want to, yeah, go ahead.
In an issue like this, if there is a change, like like a mistakenly omitted section or something like that, is the city protected because we have a contractor do it, or like
Are you talking about like a Scribner's error or?
Yep. Like if there's like they went to codify it, like we were talking earlier, and something was removed, just
Inadvertently removed?
inadvertently. Is there anything to protect the city, or is that just a come back and?
No, and no, we would be able to fix any Scribner's errors without any issue. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, this is for a public hearing, so I'll let you have a seat for a minute.
Okay,
and
thank you.
I don't see any public, but we will go ahead and open up the public hearing at this time. Seeing no comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Heather,
I'll second it.
second by Adam. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Any discussion, any thoughts here? I know we had a start of a good conversation in our work meeting, and we ran out of time. Is there any additional discussion we want to talk about tonight? Do we have enough information? Are we comfortable with,
I like the idea of it being cleaned up and trying to get rid of redundancies. I also like the idea if we did inadvertently miss something, that it can be adjusted through a Scribner's affidavit or something like that. So I'm good.
okay, any other discussions? Are we confident enough in the information we've received and the discussions we've had to make a motion? Or are
Yes,
we, yeah,
Well, I do and don't want to bring this up again, but like the deleted section 1 appeal, I guess it'll just be, see how it works and see if it's working, if people,
Do you mind if I respond to that?
yeah.
sure.
Okay, so throughout the appeal, through that, it actually just references one place in Harriman City Code, and then
Okay.
Harriman City Code also in that does reference state code. So it would all actually be tied together.
Okay.
There
So-
still is an appealability, basically.
I'm
There-
sorry, say
There
that
still
one-
is an appealability.
Absolutely, yeah, that is not being removed
Yeah, that
whatsoever.
hadn't been removed, it was just
It was
whether,
just, do people know that they can do that?
I would hope they would, but hopefully our staff would know how to guide that discussion too.
Well, yeah, I think that's,
Yeah.
would be the other piece of it. If like, if they're like, hey, I'm not happy with this, what's the next option?
There's always an appeal in this country. You can appeal anything,
That's
right?
true.
I mean, really.
There's always the ability to sue.
Anyhow, No, I mean, yeah, sorry, that was maybe a little flippant, but
Well,
yeah,
I would say-
there's,
And I
yeah,
think
it's-
you're right, but I would say if staff can be directed to, when something isn't approved, to have a note that you can appeal by X, Y, Z, then just in the
Yeah,
letter
just
itself.
make sure applicants and individuals recognize their rights and abilities to, worth anything.
I just wanted to ask Clint, do you feel comfortable or do you want us to delay this?
No, I think our position, I mean, this has been looked at by, like, legal staff, city staff for as long as Jackie's been working on it. So if you guys are comfortable, we're comfortable with moving forward with it as well.
I do just want to say thank you, Jackie, because that looked like a real pain, and I'm impressed by how much you combed over that.
You didn't read all 481 pages?
I did not. I freely admit that.
I read through everything that was taken out and everything that was inserted. I created the table to go through to make it easier.
Thank you, by the way,
And-
yeah.
I'm tired.
You're ready to be done. We can sense,
Appreciate that.
sense the ownership in this, so thank you for what you've
We were
done.
just trying to stress you out earlier, honestly.
No worries. No.
Kidding.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? All right, again, this is a motion, this is going to be going to the city council, so this is a, recommendation to the city council for this particular item.
Well, I'm ready to make your motion.
Go ahead, Daryl.
I motion to recommend approval for item 5.1, the recodification of the 2023 Title 10 for Harriman City.
Perfect.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Daryl and a second by Adam. Do a roll call vote. We'll begin with Andrea.
Yes.
Daryl.
Yes.
Adam.
Yes.
Brody.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Heather.
Yes.
All right, that moves forward with positive recommendation. Thank you, Jackie, again, for all your work and all the city's work. And city staff, thank you all for all you do. You guys are great. I appreciate you making these meetings efficient and effective for us as well. So, any other comments by any member?
I have a short one.
Yes. They can be
The
long.
Laguna property reminded me that it goes over top of one of my favorite trails. And so I don't know if that gets replaced in the trails master plan or if it's Parks master plan.
I'm trying to remember, but I think there is,
There was
I think there were some provisions to adjust the trails. Oh, that was
Right,
private
it's
property.
private, so it's theirs.
Gotcha.
too. So I don't know if we can go up the hill from it, or if there's any way to go, or trails in the area.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Start blazing a new one. Just kidding.
All right. Any other comments? All right, next week is our next city council meeting on May 14th. Next planning commission meeting is May 21st, and a reminder, I will be absent for that meeting. So Jackson, hopefully you're here in 2 weeks. So just so everybody's aware, I will be gone there. So with that.
I'll be gone too.
Okay. All right. Sounds like we'll have enough for a quorum then. So if everybody else is here. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So move.
We have a motion by Brody. Second. Second by Heather. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all. See how quickly they go when you show up?